she is. Listen, the Q3 deck was flawless. Genuinely, I don't know how you do it.
Oh, I just care so much.
That's what I love about you. Total team player. Hey, can you take the Morrison account too? I know you're slammed, but you're the only one I trust with it.
Sure, absolutely. Happy to help.
You're the best, truly. Don't ever change.
Wouldn't dream of it. Day 400 and something of me being the one she trusts, but not enough for a raise and not enough for a promotion and apparently not enough to stop giving me everybody else's work. Hey. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sanity Penning Podcast. I'm Holly and this is Amber. And today we are talking about Resenteeism. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I had like a little note over here that said like how to pronounce it. But we are talking about like when you stay at a job that you can't stand because you have convinced yourself somehow that the torment is worth it. Like maybe the pay is decent or the commute's tolerable or whatever your reason might be. But over time you feel stuck in that space and that turns to resentment. And Amber, I know that you've probably seen this play out in real time. So what's your take on this?
I feel like it's me. I feel like this spoke to me.
Yes, Hundo P.
Real hard. Yeah. And I saw myself and all of the numbers, all the statistics, the examples. And I was like, oh my goodness, this was me. And I didn't have a name for it. I just was like, well, this is who I am. I started to classify it as who I was, as this is what happens to high achievers. It's like this perpetual, I can do this. This is what I get. This is what I get paid to do is, this is the other duties as assigned. And I really fell into this trap of being in a lot of ways addicted to the cycle of the production of being reliable. This is the twisted side of people really knowing that you're reliable. So, hey, that's great that I'm reliable, but also, do I want to be that reliable that I then shadow and take over other people's existence?
Right. And I think too, resenteeism, everything that I read, it's people who are dissatisfied, but they are like obviously dissatisfied. Like there's a shift that changes and like, it's obvious, like you're not happy where you are, but you're also still there. Like you're not going anywhere. You're not leaving. You're not doing whatever. But I think like one of the things that like, because I did see myself like as having this, but mine was more of a, like, I told myself, well, I just hate people. I'm not a people person. I hate people. No, when I was able to like step away from that and I actually had that distance, I realized like, I don't actually hate people. Like this resentment that I had, it was because I was constantly being taken advantage of at work. And it built this resentment where it was like, I felt stuck there. Like, I'm like, well, I need that paycheck. I can't just go. And like, it's hard to find anything better. Like, so I stayed, even though I wasn't happy there. And then I told myself, yeah, I'm just not a people person. But like, I told myself like, I hate people. And I really didn't. I don't know for you if there was like something that you're like, wow, that's not me. Like where you had an awakening and realized like, whew, something's not right here.
I think it was the being on part. Like this, a lot of conversations around introvert, extrovert,
right,
like, and who I am. And I really started to speak a lot more and educate people of how much of an introvert I am versus an extrovert. So I feel like my language was starting to change of like, you're tapping in too much to this extrovert side. And I'm starting, so it's like, I am not an extrovert. I am an introvert, right? When I actually think that I'm both. I'm an, what do they call it? An ambivert. And it's because I can teach myself, or I have taught myself like to lean into more of my extrovert side when it is needed. And I felt too relied on the extrovert side and I wasn't getting a good balance. So then my language started to change where I started to start educating people about who I was in an effort to get them to stop doing this other thing. So instead of saying stop doing that, I just started very not casually, right? Very clearly and firmly saying who I was. Like, I'm an introvert. Leave me alone. Like I think I even used the phrase like, I'm really just a cave troll. Let me be a cave troll sitting in my, dark alone space and stop tapping on me to come into the light and be like the voice and the face and the leader behind all of these things. I don't want those things.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, like, before I started feeling some of these things, though, like, I saw other people that were clearly suffering from resenteeism, and they were like obviously dissatisfied and felt that, you know, they were constantly being passed up and constantly like whatever, like very unhappy with where they were, and just never, like, all they wanted to do was complain about it. And, you know, it showed in their work too, right? Like, I think it was like, I remember having this feeling, and maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't. It could have just been my perception of it. But I got the feeling that they wanted us to fail. Like, they wanted a project to fall through, or they wanted us to miss a deadline, or not be able to meet, like, you know, the promise that we gave, like, not be able to meet those expectations. And it felt like they were constantly sabotaging us, or at least doing the whole like bad vibes your way kind of thing. And it always made me really angry. And then whenever I started feeling a certain way, I started realizing, like, yes, all these other things led to it. All like the constant overworking, you know, putting more on my plate than I could really handle because, again, you're the only one anybody trusts, or like you get it done faster instead of educating somebody over here on the spreadsheet. Like, you already know it. Let me just give it to you. For me, I think like the resenteeism, and again, hot take, this is just my opinion. I think employees feel that way. Like, that's a direct cause of poor leadership. Because I don't think that they have done enough within their teams to like ensure that things are distributed evenly and that expectations are clearly communicated that, hey, we all need to be doing our part here. I think it's poor leadership.
On the flip side, I'm going to say that my hot take on this is personal boundaries. I actually feel a sense of responsibility for being not clear enough in what I actually wanted to happen and saying no. Because even though it's poor leadership who might come to me, I'll be like, I think this is a perfect opportunity for so-and-so. And I have too much that's going on. I'm not going to take that on. I needed to be clearer and firmer about what I already had happening. Like, let me lay out, here are all the responsibilities that I have. I don't need this opportunity. Somebody else does. In order to, right? And just because I can do it in a way that you understand the expectations, that does need to go to somebody else. And I take a sense of responsibility for not being clear about my boundaries when it came to the work and how it was assigned. So I think it's a combination.
Yeah, definitely. And I know like resenteeism, it's not just like a trendy buzzword. Like there's like science behind this too. Like I know like you had some stuff that you put together for us that was talking about like the physiological effects that it can have, but you also had some data and stuff like that. Did you want to share that?
Yeah, 49% of employees. Now, mind you, this data is coming from HR organizations who have studied multiple amounts of workforces, workplaces, environments, right, where this could be occurring. And so it is taking a lot of these symptoms, physiological symptoms or impacts at work, and coming up with these totals and numbers. And so it's 49% of employees experience daily work stress. Okay. So 49%, with 35% considering job changes. And so with those numbers being so high, those are high numbers, with the amount of stress that is present at work, no wonder it's leading to all of these symptomatic new words that are happening within the workforce that are burnout, quiet quitting, other topics that we've covered already. And then now resenteeism is one of those symptomatic stresses or impacts of stresses that's coming from out of like 49% of people are experiencing stress at work, with 36% wanting a job change as a result of it.
And I think too, like, because we, again, like, so it's an HR study and stuff like that. I think it's important to remember like that they're the company people, right? Like, so HR is the company, like their goals, their motives are profit, productivity, things like that. It's actually not about the well-being of employees, their mental and physical well-being. It's really like, how can we squeeze more labor out of you and get more done from you? One of the things that I was reading about resenteeism is that it came from this other word. It was like a spinoff of, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, like presenteeism, where people were presenting to work every single day, but not actually doing anything. And so it was like managers were having a hard time catching it because it's like, well, you're here. We think you're working, like, but you're not actually getting anything done. And it makes me think of like those return to office mandates. Like, yeah, people can be there and actually not be doing anything. Like, so like what they're trying to, their goals, like what they think is what they're trying to measure. If it's just presence, yeah, you got that. But if it's like output, like you're not getting anything here. And I think that resentment came from like people saying, hey, like now you took away my flexibilities, right? Like you took away my remote work. We're not getting raises this year because, oh, the economy is not great. We can't do raises this year. It's like it's one thing after another. And then all of a sudden you've created this villain of this person who like absolutely despises like their place of work. Like, I don't know. What did you expect was going to happen? So I don't know. It feels like a villain story almost, you know?
It does. And I also recently heard, I was talking to somebody who was sharing a personal experience about working in a job that somebody else was unhappy in. And they would go to lunch with them. And then eventually, after months and months of being with this individual who was talking about their experiences and their negative work feelings, it changed the way that they felt about their job. And so then they changed their job because they thought they were unhappy. And then they really moved into a job that made them unhappy. And that's where they realized that it was somebody else.
The negativity is contagious?
That it influenced their thinking about that job when it was really the perfect job for them. They were happy. And that they got influenced into thinking that they were unhappy in that job.
Oh my gosh.
So they made a job change and actually moved to something that made them unhappy.
Wow.
And it was that like, whoa, the people I surround myself with actually has a great impact, right? And so that taught them this experience of being able to listen to themselves, which is where I think it's important to note that a lot of the physiological responses that employees are experiencing come more from that psychology, medical perspective of what additional symptoms people are presenting, or the increase in symptoms that people are presenting when coming, like they're taking more time off of work. There's more tummy and digestion issues. There's more like racing hearts and people thinking that they are tachycardic and like, which is like, you know, that racing, that anxiety, depression. Like there's a lot of symptoms that even if you think that you are managing that stress in your work environment, your body is probably telling you you're not.
It's really interesting, though, that like, because that makes it's true then, like one person on the team can bring that negativity and create a toxic work culture for everybody else. Like we're all subject to that. Like it's again, that's a management issue to me. I think management needs to get in there on that stuff, but I don't know.
And then I'm on the side of, I also think it's our own personal response. I think it's a lot of different things. Yeah, and I think that just looking up to management being responsible, it also tends to then give that opportunity for blame. And I still want to hold on to this idea that we are still personally responsible for communicating to management, right? Or communicating on behalf of ourselves. And so I agree with you. That is, I just don't see it as the solution.
So really quick probe into that one element. So if it is somebody else on the team, it's not you. You're like, you don't have resenteeism, but my colleague over here does. And every time we have a team meeting, they're complaining and bringing up all this stuff and about how terrible everything is. Is it my responsibility then? Do I need to take ownership to go to my manager and say, hey, so-and-so over here can't shut up in our team meetings about how much they hate their job. Like you should do something about it. Like what role do I play then if it's my colleague over here who has the issue?
So some of that, I see that as if this is happening in a team meeting, if this is happening just with you personally, I think it's calling that out to say, this sounds like you have some really strong concerns. How do you imagine them being resolved? Have you talked to somebody about this? This seems to be really bringing the team down. Every time that we try to talk about a solution, you seem to be stuck in this place. So some of it could be a private conversation that you have with that individual about what it's doing to you, and then offering a way for them to feel empowered to do something about it themselves. Would you bring this up? What are you actually hoping happens? Because if we are not the responsible party for it, then why are we the natural choice for you to say something?
Right? It's annoying. I'll be honest, I would never talk to that like annoying colleague and say, hey, like, you know, go fix yourself. Like you're bringing everybody down. You need to work on you.
Right. Like, and I think as the coach, like I see that as like
you see an opportunity to like talk with them. And as somebody who maybe is not I don't want to say I'm not like a confrontational, but I also am a very much like, that's not my job. It's not my job to pull you out of this negativity that you're in. Like, you just need to get off my radar and stop, like, you know, airing your grievances every time we're in a meeting together. But, and again, though, like, I have my perspective of I've seen so many poor leaders, like just in general, like not that I've worked with poor leaders, but like I have seen so much poor leadership that I'm just like, I think my natural inclination is to go, it's because we just don't have good leadership. It's just because we don't have good leaders. Mm-hmm. Managers are trying to, it's not fun to hold people responsible, right? Like those are difficult conversations. Even managers struggle with that. But I'm like, that is your duty and you are doing it poorly. So I think like I'm always going to, unfortunately, like lean that way. But that's just me.
Yeah. But okay. So I love this poking part, right? Yeah. Like, and so like in your scenario, and you don't have somebody like me on your team, right? Who's going to say something, and you're on a team where it's very similar minded, right? Like that's not my responsibility, but yet I can recognize that this is bringing the team down. And you were thinking that management is responsible. Is management on these meetings to see it?
So I've never been in a team meeting that management didn't lead. Like, do you do team meetings where management's not there? Like your supervisor's not in the call with everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never had that. So, okay, that's interesting. We have different experiences. I've never had a team meeting without a supervisor. Okay.
Yeah. And that's where that employee felt comfortable enough to say it.
Fascinating.
So, because then they don't say it when the individuals who might be able to do something about it. Why are you just meeting
with team members? I just can't, because like, okay, our team meetings that I've been in has been to assign work. Like, hey, this is what we've got working on. So-and-so's working on this. So-and-so's working on this. Here's why that's important. We're going to like, you know, talk about the result. Like, so like, what were the objectives in team meetings for you? Was it just not chit chat? I'm not like, but like, what did you guys do if you're not assigning work to each other? Like, what are your team meetings about?
Project specific, right? So meeting with the teams who are working on this particular project. So maybe it's not the full team. So it's not like a full team meeting. So when you're talking about like team approach, I'm like my massive experience has been
very different
project based versus right. Like, and so leadership isn't always involved at that project level. They just want to know it from the reporting level. And so it's like, so you're right.
That's different.
Those different. And so in those types of settings, like I don't see where management is involved. And so where would that responsibility go? But now knowing how you're seeing it, where management's always there, I think that I understand now the management's not doing anything about it in that moment. And right. Okay. So that actually offers context that makes better sense, because I'm like, how would management know to even do anything if the person, because my experience is that they don't talk the way that they talk with their coworkers, the way, right?
You and I have known a couple people who it didn't matter the setting they were in. It was just chaos. And I'm like, wow, like that is, and again, go fix yourself. Like good Lord.
So let's play a game to find out if you are thriving or rotting. Yes. That's the game I have for us today.
That name. I love that name. Yes. Let's do it.
So it's a game where you have to figure out the rules. No, I'm kidding. It's a game where I'm going to read you a scenario of an employee's behavior. Okay. Uh-huh. And then you need to identify whether this employee is thriving or whether they are rotting. And rotting in this sense is that they are crumbling under resenteeism. First scenario. Never misses a deadline, first to volunteer for the hard project, hasn't taken a sick day in 2 years, thriving or rotting.
Hasn't taken a sick day? I mean, that sounds like thriving.
That's rotting.
That's rotting. Okay. Because interesting. I would think,
but I actually want to hear.
Yeah. Because when I had resenteeism, I was taking sick days every week. Or taking leave every single week. I don't want to say sick days, but I was taking leave every single week, like little bits. And maybe it wasn't much. Maybe it was like, hey, I'm going to leave 2 hours early on this day. And it was sprinkled in, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm planning a big trip, so I need this whole week. It was like, I need some days off every single week just to manage this. Not taking a day off Now, again, though, who knows in that scenario if that person even has personal days? I know a lot of people don't even get sick days. You have to use your own personal vacation for that. And like, maybe they can't do it. So again, this is only colored by my experiences.
Fair. Okay. But through the lens of resenteeism, it's rotting because they haven't taken a sick day in 2 years. So being resentful, right, of where you're at is also kind of an attribute to feeling that you can't put the work down, right? Like, because even if they stop producing for a single day, then they're afraid that they'll crack. Like, if they take that time off, then they won't come back the same. So thriving, if you are thriving, you have a way to rest and you can kind of come back and forth. And rotting kind of shows that you can't deactivate yourself from, right? Like from the pace. And rotting keeps that sense of productivity alive, because you can't feel like you can set it down. Because you're so relied upon, right? And so I can see both, but from the lens of resenteeism, it's actually rotting.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Very curious. Very curious. Okay. All right. Scenario 2.
But I think it helps. Yeah, but I think it helps define the term, right? Like, and why it's different than quiet quitting. Because if you were quiet quitting in this scenario, you'd take sick days every week, just like what you said, right? Like, so each of these scenarios comes with different motivations.
So, and here's like, because I feel like I had quiet quitting and I had resenteeism, but I saw them differently because whereas quiet quitting, I did the job. Like, I didn't let things fall through the cracks because, again, like, you're just doing enough to get by. Whereas resenteeism, like, again, it's almost like you want things to fail. Like, oh, I wanted that project not to do well, or I wanted whatever not to be successful because, like, again, I'm mad and I want you to suffer. I want everybody to not, like, again.
And
like,
I see it as more of a mask. You're putting up a mask for how you truly feel.
So interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like, I am resentful, but I can't let people know how resentful I am because then they're on to me. And I have to cover up how I feel because I have to cover up how resentful I am.
Really? You think it's high? So, okay. So the people that we have known who were very clearly resentful and not quiet about it, talked about it in every single team meeting. Was that not resenteeism? What do you think that is? What's that?
I think that's revenge quitting. Like that is
they want to complain, but they're not themselves. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. Cause again, like why would they give rid of, like, cause their time invested here, they're not giving that up. No way. You don't get that.
No, they're just toxic.
Yeah,
they're just
toxic.
I
think that's resenteeism. Okay, yeah, we have different views. Okay, so interesting. All right, but I know how you see it now, though. So, okay, go. I'm better prepared now. I'm better prepared. Yes.
Oh, I love how this topic has like brought...
I know, me too.
Yeah, because I think that even when I was reading the definitions, like even when you described at the beginning, I was like, that's not... Yeah,
we do. We see it differently, but I do think that they kind of go hand in hand. I think that it does kind of depend on the person because you're right. I don't know that maybe an introverted person would be as like, boastful, right, about their unhappiness.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I saw it as resenteeism having all like exactly what our skit showed. You are going to put a face forward about how reliable you are, how you can get all of these things done. And yet when the person walks out of the room, your whole facade changes into how you truly feel about it. And so you are incredibly resentful, but you can't show your resentment because you've seen what happens when those toxic employees like start becoming toxic. And you know you don't want that label because then you get seen. And you kind of want to be unseen. You just want to be seen for your productivity while you kind of like chip away at trying to leave or right. And you have all of these symptoms of being suffering, but you put on like the brave face that everything is okay when really it's not. Then, whereas like same with quiet quitting is masking, right?
Yeah.
In some
quiet
ways,
quitting
you're
is
not
it's quiet. But like resenteeism
about it, right? But
think of it as being quiet. I always thought of it as like you are poisoning your personal brand, like your work reputation that used to matter. You've gotten to your breaking point and now you don't care anymore. And so you are slowly deteriorating that work reputation that maybe you used to have, that mask that you used to wear. Guess what? I'm so tired and exhausted. I'm at my breaking point. That mask is gone. Now I'm poisoning that. I've like, your brand is just like has changed. People see you, like they know you're upset and you're not going anywhere. I guess in the hopes that something would change. Like, it's interesting. Okay. I want to see some of these other examples. I'm curious what else you've cooked up here.
What if it's both though? What if
it's both?
What if it's both?
Sorry, it was just funny the way you said it. Your eyes were like all big.
I know, right? Because I'm like, did I not read something right?
No.
Right?
Again, I think it's like we are letting our experiences speak for these. And again, the book definition, like not everybody's going to fit into a book definition either. Again, there's a lot of nuances here. I think like it really depends on the environment, the person, a whole host of things. So curious.
Because I definitely, we'll get back to the game, but I definitely read it as this was work that a manager would have to have a one-on-one to understand that somebody was going through resenteeism.
Really?
Yes. Like, and so if there were any kind of solution perspectives, right, that were offered in what I read, it was that this comes out in a one-on-one where you are asking them, hey, I noticed you haven't taken a break, right? Like, you want to talk to me about that? Okay. And then you find out that they can't let the work go.
I find it fascinating that a supervisor would care about somebody doing a good job. Hey, I notice you're doing such a great job. I want to make sure you're doing okay. What world? That feels like a fantasy world to me.
That's my world. That's my world.
Again, this Amber. Wow, this is so much more fascinating than I initially thought. Okay, go. I feel like I want to hear more of like that version, though. Okay. I want to know more of this.
Okay, so somebody who is always positive in meetings. Mentors the junior staff, stays late on Thursday to walk a new hire through their first big project. Are they thriving or are they rotting?
Okay, sounds like thriving.
Yeah,
mentoring. Mentoring was the key for me because I think you wouldn't care to mentor somebody new or share your knowledge and things like that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm on board with that. That seems like thriving.
Yes. Okay, and you have it exactly right. You would not want to invest in the success of somebody else if you are not feeling successful yourself. Third scenario is got promoted last quarter, hit every metric, updated their resume on a Tuesday at 11 p.m. for no particular reason. Okay.
Well, the fact that they updated their resume, that makes me think rotting, because why would you do that unless you were like interested in leaving? Yeah. Okay,
that
one seems clear to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then it's a job search, right? But they're just kind of being prepared because they still have one foot out the door, right? Like they are. So it is the updating their resume that is the giveaway.
I can hear that. Okay. Interesting.
Came in early, stayed late, told everyone that they were grateful for the opportunity.
Sorry, who is this mythical employee?
I know, right? Right.
Some unicorn employee out there. No, thank you for giving me work. Who is this person? I mean, I don't know. Sounds like thriving. This is like some magical being, though. I don't know.
And this one is the trick.
Yeah.
Because it's honestly both. Because this behavior will exist in both thriving and rotting. Because the rotting is masking it and the thriving is really feeling it. And and that is the reason why it's the trick, is that sometimes you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
That's why when I read the definitions behind it, it's like you can't tell the difference between these individuals because they look so similar. Like, meaning that the resentful folks know what it looks like to thrive. And so they try to fake it till I make it kind of thing. And then they never make it. My purpose, I guess, in building these scenarios and researching these scenarios for this game was to show how similar that they look and what some of the tells are. But sometimes you can't tell the tell, is because we all know and understand environments in which we thrive and what we want in order to thrive, right? And so if we're not able to have that difficult conversation with someone about not being able to thrive, well, then sometimes what we do is we just pretend that everything's fine. And this is that scenario.
So I feel like there's a lot of people who would, again, think, in my mind for resenteeism, I see people who are like outwardly complaining. Again, understanding that that's not going to be everybody's like approach whenever they're feeling these things. But for the people who are outwardly complaining in the hopes that somebody will hear and make a change that will like help them feel better in some way. And then that doesn't happen because, again, like the motive is not, the well-being of our employees, because unfortunately, big companies anyway, right? Smaller companies may have their employees' best interests in mind. And certainly a lot of unionized employees like have better conditions than others. But like for like I'm thinking big corporations where the motive is not about the well-being of our employees, the motive is profit and like what can we get out of our employees. So knowing that those outward complaints are not going to do anything, and then you might have other employees, well, just quit then, right? If you're not happy, just go. No, that may not be an option for some people, but then like what is like, is quitting the only solution like to resenteeism? What's the solution? Like what can you do about resenteeism?
I think it's important to know, what do you gain by staying? If there isn't a clear solution, and so it means that you just status quo it, you just stay where you are, and yet you're miserable staying where you are because you won't do anything about it. And then you just sit there and you fester, and it comes out in all of this kind of festering. Then what do you gain? Like, what benefit are you getting by staying? If leaving is off the table and this is how you're choosing to behave, right? Because you've taken leaving off of the table, because that's a choice.
Right.
In this scenario that you've just described, if leaving is off the table, then you have made the choice to stay. What are you gaining by staying? I'm going to propose a crazy answer here. And I'm going to say that if somebody is seeking a solution to it, what do you do if there is no solution?
Right.
Why does there, right? Like you're obviously wanting something to happen by this behavior. Yes. What do you want to have happen?
Right.
You want it to change for the better, but do you even know what better is? Are you aware of what better means for yourself? You're just out here like throwing all the flags out onto the play and expecting a referee to jump in and make the call. But what call? What call are you expecting them to make? And then really, what are you like, and this is where my cynicism about working with other people comes in. And it's like, what are you going to do? What are you doing to make a change?
Yeah. And to be honest, like some hard truth here too, for people who are like that too. Like, and I'm thinking of the outward people, not the people who are masking it and trying to hold it all in. Right. And for the people who are being outwardly, aggressive about these things, adversarial, I just keep thinking like, nobody likes you. You have created an environment where nobody can get along with you. They see you and immediately roll their eyes or feel like do the whole like whatever as soon as you join a meeting. It's like, did you want that? Did you want that? And I think it's important though, too, for like, to understand like the other, like, I'm trying to be more empathetic again, because I'm far enough away from something that I can realize that when you get to that point, when you are at your breaking point where suddenly you just stop caring, you also stop caring about people. You stop showing empathy to others. You stop, doing these other things that you would naturally want to do, like the mentorship stuff that you were talking about in the example too. Like you stop wanting to help others do things and be successful and stuff. Things that may have like be a natural trait for you, but you are so exhausted and run down that like those things are gone. You're like a shell of your former self. So, but yeah, it's like just to call out that like you are saying all these things, being very aggressive and like, hey, you wanting to see change, but guess what? Nobody wants to help you. Nobody wants things to change for you and get better for you because nobody likes you. Like you've done that now. Yeah, it's a lot of like, go work on yourself.
Yeah. It is, but it's also, I think that happens to individuals when they feel that they are communicating. Right. If you think that you're communicating clearly, when really all you're doing is just throwing a flag on the play and expecting somebody else to pick it up, to do something about that, that's not clear communication.
Nah.
And that's not being like, and even if people who are like, there could be people screaming at us right now, listening to this going, but I am clearly communicating to, right? Like, I'm not just throwing flags and I'm still in this environment.
I'm being
kind
specific.
Of thing. I'm doing all the things that you said and stuff is still not changing.
Right. Yes.
And then it's the same thing. Then what do you gain by staying? And if it's the fear of like you having to, then that becomes a whole different conversation, because then I feel like that moves the conversation instead of, why am I staying? I know why I'm staying is because the market is too scary and I can't put my family in that situation, right? And so then that question and conversation turns into, well, then how do I protect myself? I know that I will leave when it's not so volatile, right? Like I am planning to leave. Then change the question to, well, while I'm here and while it's bad, what do I want to work on for myself? What do I want, right? Like, and it could cripple you for a while, right? Until you can kind of like build that safe place for yourself. And it may change you. It may change you. And it could change you for the better. It could change you for the worse. It's understanding the choices that we're making and coming to those own personal agreements. I think that's why a lot of my responses come back to personal responsibility, because it's we are behaving and acting in certain ways that at our core, if we don't understand who we are, then we are just reacting to the environment around us. Yeah. But if you know that you're on a plan, and you'd be like, I'm out the door, right? Mm-hmm. Like as soon as this other thing happens, right? Then doesn't mean you have to come to work happy, right? Yeah. And it'd mean that you just sit there and quiet quit and you just do, like what you need to do to get through. Right. That's the agreement you've made with yourself. Where it becomes toxic is when you make other people pay for that agreement that you've made. Because you feel that it's the reason why you had to make that agreement, and your anger around having to make that agreement is a result of your workplace.
Right. You're lashing out. Yeah.
And you're lashing out. So I think that's why there's so much anger at work, is because we are all having to operate under an environment of no choice.
I know. I was just about to say, sorry, listener, we don't have a solution. Like, here's how to fix resenteeism. We don't have anything. Here it is. Nothing.
I'm going to say something that maybe is not believed.
Yeah.
You ultimately know what the answer is. And a lot of the reason why it feels like you have no choices is that you feel like you can't make the thing that you want to have happen. And you may not know that you know that, but you do. You know what the answer is. And it's that struggle of knowing what it is that you need or want to do and not feeling like you have the resources or the ways to make it happen and do it.
Yeah, bringing it to light. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So obviously Holly and I are in this space of like, there could be many different options in many different ways. And so this is a really great opportunity for you to let us know how you understood this definition or how you land and how you fall. And we've got some really great ways that you can connect with us. And so we have our YouTube channel, obviously, where we're posting this video, and you can add your comments to the channel. In those comments, you can come to our Reddit, where we are going to post these these games and post episode kind of content that we're sharing memes. So if there's a meme that represents this for you, or you just want to tell us like what your definition is, we have a subreddit for that on our break room kind of tag that we share this content. So join us there. We also are on Substack. So we're going to talk a lot more about our feelings and thoughts about this episode and put that available on our Substack as well. So join it. We have lots of ways that you can get in touch with us. And so we would love to hear from you. We would love to know because this has actually turned out to be really fascinating and interesting.
Very interesting.
And so like, I don't think that we've ever done this with a topic where we haven't fully agreed completely on, or even
like we went into an episode with two completely different understandings, which like at the end, I see your side and I think that does sound like resentment, but I also I'm like, is it both? Could it be all the things?
Yeah, could it be all the things? No. And so, but I think that's honestly really reflective of what's happening now, is that we're all coming into spaces with different definitions, and it's just how you handle the diversity of other people's way of thinking. And I feel like did a really great job of just being curious and be like, tell me more about like what, right? So instead of completely shutting each other down as to how we were, or even defending and go, well, didn't you read the same thing? I think that other people's environments it's about really kind of doubling down on how they see the world,
being defensive about because you have to constantly defend your position, defend yourself. It's a protection instinct that people have. Yeah. So
absolutely.
That's why I like us. Like I'm more curious than anything else. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like I'll admit it.
Same.
Like,
absolutely,
don't hurt my feelings at all.
Yeah. So speaking of like our I'm so profession taglines and things, we have a merchandise shop. And so you can now carry your swag around and also start adopting some of the things that we say. Or just go into environments like you know the definition to stuff. We are Sanity Pending Podcast. I am Amber and this is Holly. And we hope you've enjoyed our episode today. And do remember that if you have not throat punched somebody this week, it's been a great week. Bye!